What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be a very long, rambling dedication video. I did make a short clip earlier today on my YouTube channel, but then I think to myself, I am not done whatsoever, because there's a lot more from me to talk to you guys about this man. 15 years ago today, we had lost one of the ultimate greatest vocalists in both of the histories of rock and metal, Ronnie James Dio. I remember the day it happened, when the news broke out when he passed from stomach cancer. I was very devastated. I was 15 years old at the time. So, at the age of 15, and he passed on the 16th of May, 2010, that really meant something that, to me, it was one of the worst tragedies. To know about a passing from a musician who did touch and inspire millions of lives. I first heard and discovered Ronnie James Dio through the Tenacious D track of Kickapoo. Say what you say about that, because of Tenacious D, but it was the truth. I don't care what some of you guys have to say on that. Yes, I should have discovered his voice through the eras of his solo to Black Sabbath, etc. But I had to be honest. I did see and listen to his voice for the first time from the start of their film The Pick of Destiny. There was no other voice like him, and it is obvious to say it, but I'll say it anyway. Dio is irreplaceable. Nobody else could be like him. Nobody could replicate this triumphant, incredible tone. And whenever I listen to his voice from then to now, it still amazes me. As you can see, the Black Sabbath sections there, I took out the albums that he was involved with. I don't have every single thing in both of my CD and vinyl collections. That will be sorted out. I've been collecting a lot, okay? So I don't think about collecting an entire discography, all at once, because it takes time. But I will never ever forget and will always cherish that Dio means so much to me. He's right up there for the top vocalists of all time, alongside the others like the King, Elvis Presley, to Frank Sinatra, Nina Simone, Joni Mitchell, Aretha Franklin, Lennon and McCartney, loads. Rainbows Rising, to me, is his best ever vocal performance. I did listen to this album for the first time in ages last night, and I completely forgot that the next day would have been 15 years since he passed. This album, to me, is a magnum opus one. A crowning achievement for Dio vocally. The album cover is as beautiful, as well as this very short, brief lasted lineup. You can't go wrong with the tracks, and every single one of them is all killer, no filler. Look at this lineup. From the tracks of Tarot Woman to Starstruck and A Light in the Black, but Stargazer is one of the top, very best anthemic songs in heavy metal history. That song made Dio such a special master. I've listened to Stargazer earlier today as well. Powerful. Absolutely tremendous. So much delivery, rhythm, hook, and the chemistry. Obviously not just with Dio only, but with the lineup at the time for this album. Just essential. I do have Long Live Rock and Roll on vinyl. I do need to get this album on vinyl. Ozzy's replacement for Black Sabbath, and he made 3 albums. Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, and the original to be made with Tony Martin album, Dehumanizer. Heaven and Hell almost took the spot for me to think about this as his best vocal recorded album. But Rising is the number one. It always has been. Out of all of the Black Sabbath songs that are highly ranked in the top 10 favourites for me, Neon Nights is one of my top 5. That has always been my favourite Dio-era Black Sabbath song. His voice, so distinctive, distorted very comfortably. He had the balance with his experimenting with his vocal voice box to use grit, the belting sound, his sustain, the cleans as well. Wonderful to listen to how much of a prolific vocalist he was. Everything about this album is perfection. Children of the Sea, the title track. Listen to these 2 songs, and you better tell me that his voice from these songs are incredible. One of, to me, the other greatest 80s albums of all time. Mob Rules, this is where his voice really goes into more of the amplification with anger and intensity, like Turn Up the Night, the title track, The Sign of the Southern Cross. The Sign of the Southern Cross is another incredible piece of performance, as well as the instrumentation. Another standout performance right from the start to the finish. Brilliant, brilliant album. I can understand why so many Sabbath fans would pick this over this, but I'm the opposite. This is my favourite Dio Sabbath album, but this is brilliant. Dehumanizer, which is drastically underrated in my opinion, this is my second favourite in the Dio contribution. Dio's vocals on this sometimes can be similar and alike to the Mob Rules sound, but his vocals on this, on songs like Computer God, Letters from Earth, Master of Insanity, Time Machine, amazing, amazing stuff. I do need to get the later released edition digipack version of this album. Not easy to get for now, but I really want that for my Black Sabbath collection. And of course I have the 2 brilliant re-released digipack versions of Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. These 2 have got a ton of brilliant bonus tracks as well as live tracks. These 2 came out in 2022. These are fantastic releases. I do recommend them a lot. I do have Dream Evil on original vinyl. Holy Diver is a classic. Again, like with Rainbow's Rising, all killer no filler. The title track to Stand Up and Shout, Rainbow in the Dark to the other albums like The Last in Line. And I am a defender of some of the later stuff as well. Like one of the last few albums. You know, it's still Dio doing what he does best. I do have the original pressing of Heaven and Hell, which sounded beautiful on vinyl. The production is immaculate. One of Martin Birch's best produced albums, like with Rising, of course. The achievements that Dio did decide to share through his natural, sometimes vulnerable to melodic and emotional tones is such an experience. I do not care how many times I will be repeating myself with these massive amounts of compliments, because Ronnie James Dio is not only my favourite Black Sabbath vocalist, by the way, besides Tony Martin, but as a vocalist, there's nothing bad about him. His album of The Devil You Know by Heaven and Hell, we really felt something. We truly did. He sounded like he was pretty frail. It was very moving for a lot of people. And we did not know what to expect when the time did come. I do have Mob Rules on vinyl as well. Dio with Black Sabbath, to me, as strong as the Ozzy Osbourne era and Tony Martin. Live Evil on CD. One of them is the single disc version. I've played this a few months back and it is still very, very good. And the Live Evil box set, the anniversary one, which is just up there. That's next to the box sets of Volume 4, Sabotage and Technical Ecstasy. I do need to get the Paranoid one. Ronnie James Dio. Every time I hear his voice, he makes me smile. There was no other vocalist who had been as magnetic, blistering, exciting, and just the master. To me, he's the master out of many of these vocalists. I do love loads of other people who have their own skills, their own talents, their own moments to shine. My heart still goes out to his family, his friends, and to everybody else who loved Ronnie James Dio. A legacy that is as impactful and important. Let me know what you think of Dio down in the comments below. When did you discover him for the first time? When did you see him live? If you have seen him live. I sadly didn't. Dio's music lives on and it stays true. Just amazing. Thank you guys for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.